So I'm Tim Potter, the Sustainable Transportation Manager at MSU Bikes, which is right over there. But today we have a couple special guests with Laurie Thorp and Jorhie
Beadle.
Beadle. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
And they both have been longtime customers of MSU Bikes for their office, which is, do you want to? It's called RISE, but I struggle with what that stands for.
Everybody does.
Yes.
It's long.
It's the Residential Initiative on the Study of the Environment.
So if you want to study sustainability related topics, your office or your programs are with the center of those studies, right? The academic
We're a
side.
residential program. We're located over in Bailey Hall, and students live there their first year and potentially their second year, and our offices are there, so it's really nice.
So it's a residential program, it's not a college.
Not a college.
At this point, but
Yep.
someday is that in your vision? That it might
We'll
actually
keep it
be
residential for now.
Okay. Well, that's great. So I often see Laurie and Jorhie riding by, and we talk most times, and it just dawned on me that they've got, and the last time we spoke, you had some really nice things to say, and I asked you if you'd talk about those things on camera, and you're willing to, and so thanks for coming. Now,
We're happy to be here.
it's such a beautiful morning. This is probably the best, nicest morning
Yeah,
this summer.
we picked a good morning.
It's a great bike
But
ride.
we're happy to be here because we care so much about MSU Bikes. And I think it's
Thank
an underutilized resource here on
Certainly.
campus. We so value you and what you do, and our bikes have kept us sane.
They have.
It's a good summer. We can just end it right there.
We got it right
They
there.
have, though,
Yeah, full
truly.
stop.
Yeah.
They truly have. That's what we want to talk about, mostly.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about these are the bikes you're renting for the office. So yes, you can rent bikes from us for your office staff use. It's a great way. I'll just sum it up real quick. It's a great way to get around campus quickly and not have to worry about parking. A lot of times people, when they drive a car, they're concerned about finding parking at where they're going for the meeting, and then they have to worry about their parking when they get back to their office. Like, will it be taken by some student? So, it helps eliminate a lot of those kind of headaches, and it's also, I think you use them for break time, for going out to lunch, for health and recreation kind of purposes too, which I think we all need to do during the day. So, those are some awesome reasons to have a bike on campus and to have for your staff. If you've got a bunch of staff, you'll oftentimes have people of different sizes. So you've got two bikes. If you had an office of many people, having one large and one smaller one low step kind of frame, one diamond frame, accommodates a lot of different people. So everybody can fit one of them. And we've been doing that since day one. In fact, before we actually had the center, we started MSU Bikes Project before we had the funding here. We started simply to encourage people to ride bikes for their campus work and for the health and it's also fun, so for recreation. So that's how we started, and it's still something that we do. So can you tell us more about why you enjoy using your bikes to get around campus?
I think certainly we use them for transit, but one of our favorite reasons that we love using these bikes around campus is actually because we have working meetings on these bikes. I would call them that. Brainstorming sessions, creative time. It allows us to be pulled away from our computer screens, which is where we typically think about doing work from. And it gets us outside in the fresh air. It gets us moving our bodies and thinking creatively about some of the challenges that we run up against that we can't seem to solve in the office. So we have really good conversations on our bike when we're out cruising around campus. It might not be directly related to productivity, but it is as kind of the secondary benefit of getting to use these bikes. So that's one way that we use them.
For sure. I think we came to you to rent these bikes because we were thinking really seriously about work-life balance, health and wellness, and what are the things that myself as a supervisor can provide an employee to make her work more fulfilling, recognizing her as a whole person. And I know Jorhie's a nature geek. We're an environmental program. I know she's also a health and wellness geek. And so that same year, I bought her a share of a CSA share at the farm to provide, and I was having conversations with the university, higher level, to say this is something that we could think about in part of a HR mode, to say this is something we can offer you as a benefit because other institutions are doing that.
Do that, yeah.
And then other institutions also provide their employees with access to bicycles, right? And I remember in the early days of your office, we had those bikes that were painted green and you could just pick one up anywhere, right? And so my mind was going back to like, what can I provide Jorhie as a valued employee that I want to retain to make her think this is a great place to work. And so in my mind, I was thinking about, gosh, access to healthy, fresh food, having an opportunity to exercise at a very, low entry point. She doesn't have to go change her clothes. She doesn't have to go to the IM. She can hop on a bike. I'm a biker anyways, and I was already seeing the benefits, during the pandemic, post-pandemic, to my mental health when I took a bike ride. And when I didn't take a bike ride, how I felt. And I thought, you know what? Often I get home from work and I don't have the time or the energy then to take my bike ride. Why don't we integrate it into our life at work, right? And I'm reading, importance, especially for people my age, to get away from that desk, to move about every hour, right? And for me, my favorite way to move is on a bike. And we both share that love. Jorhie's a lifelong biker, does marathons with her dad. And so this was an easy decision. What is it, a $250 investment per semester, $400? I don't remember what we paid for it. But that was a no-brainer to say, let's lease these bikes. And it's rare that we don't take a bike ride.
Every day.
And I always, hands down, doesn't matter the weather, always feel better. For a variety of reasons. I get fresh air, I get blood moving, I see people on my bike ride. We always meet somebody that we know somewhere.
Get chased by geese.
One of our favorite things to do is to say, okay, what's in bloom, what trees, turning color. Let's go see the magnolias over by the chapel. Let's go see the forsythia and Beale, right? So there's multiple things that we enjoy to do on our bikes. Let's go see the big blue heron on the river. So I just can't imagine. And then we have such a beautiful campus. This gets us out and seeing it.
You can't from a car if you're driving.
And you can't if you just sit in your butt in your office all day long. And that's just not healthy. It's just not healthy. We know that. You need to be getting up and moving. So that's my short story about why we came to bikes and why we started doing it.
I think too, in the fall, typically semester students September students are coming to campus. The last couple years that we've had these bikes, it's also been a great way for us to show our students around campus. So I think when the campus is thinking about sense of belonging, it's such a great way to feel like you belong in a space, right? So we would take our students. There's a couple of our students who had never ridden a bike, so we got to teach them how to ride a bike and access campus in that way. But it's a really great way to connect with students and then connect students to that campus. So during the pandemic, 2021, I think, we had students in a spring semester class that had never been to this side of campus, this side being by the chapel. And we walked with them from Bailey Hall to see the magnolias on that side of campus. And it was this realization for us that sometimes students, if their classes aren't in a space on campus, they never make it over there. But we have this glorious, beautiful campus, and so how can we, kind of encourage students to embrace that space and make it feel like home? And this is such a lovely way to transport yourself and leisurely see some of those parts and pieces of campus.
That's beautiful. And I try to explain to people, you can, at least if you're in the center like us, we can get anywhere on campus in 5 minutes. So if you're on the edge, to get to another edge, it might be 10, but
max.
So much faster, you can save so much time. If you're a busy student, maybe an hour a day, not even exaggerating. So I think that's real appealing for people that have less time than money. or maybe more tumble money, I don't know, whatever the expression is. So how do you think biking can contribute to the campus sustainability goals?
Yeah. Well, certainly the no-brainer is that it reduces some of the car pressure, right? The fossil fuel burning of cars moving around this campus. So
Very short distance.
short distance,
Yeah.
yep, right, but it minimizes at some level a little bit of that output. I think, yeah, so we have a whole bucket, I like to call them, on transportation, right, on campus. We have a
Right. transportation
committee. It's a part of the Office of Sustainability to look at what is the impact of transportation. So that having that bicycle and access to bikes checks that box that says there's more than one way to get around campus. It doesn't have to be by bus. It doesn't have to be by car.
Right.
It can be this glorious machine that doesn't consume any fossil fuel, right? That's the obvious one, but I think the co-benefits that we just talked about certainly factor into our sustainability goals. Is health and wellness has to be part of what we think about when we talk about sustainability, because if our population is not healthy, which we know they're not. I just met with a colleague who studies this. She did a 9-institution study, 9 universities, and looking at undergraduates' use of or access to nature, use of nature, and correlating it with their wellness scores. And the numbers show about 50% of our population are struggling very seriously with mental health issues, and are not out on their bikes, are not walking, are not getting exposure to nature. So that is one of the areas that I think certainly we want to try and make this more accessible. And that's why Jorhie and I, in the fall, we offer multiple times that we'll put it out on the group text that we're going to go take a bike ride. And does anyone want to join us? And we always have a couple students come along with us.
Nice.
Because we know also from this research that I just was reading that students many times don't feel safe outdoors. And so if we go along with them, especially with freshmen,
as a guide,
we can help give them that sense of safety, that they're with someone.
Safety in numbers.
Exactly, safety in numbers, and people that have been on this campus for a while, and that they're not alone, and we kind of model that behavior for them. That here's a nice little easy route. That you can
show them downtown Lansing, and you get on the river trail.
We do it in bits and pieces. So that is one that for sure bubbles to the top for me when we think about sustainability.
I think another piece is kind of this idea around, it's another social aspect, but it's really around community building and the connections that Laurie and I have because of these bikes. Laurie said this earlier, rarely are we out on our bike and we don't stop to say hello to someone that one of us knows. And I think that those connections, I wouldn't get that if I was in my office, but those are really important, brief connections that you have with people that allow for some, sustainability in your community, in your network over time. So I think there's that added social piece where we're seeing people, we're connecting with people, we're talking with each other as we're riding as well. When we're with students, we're kind of guiding them along, so we're talking with them. So I think there's this important social aspect of these bikes as well that can't be overlooked when you're thinking about sustainability goals.
Yeah, and a lot of times people say, well, isn't it too hot out? Isn't it too cold out? How do you respond? I have my own responses.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Do you give it up when it gets below a certain temperature or above a certain temperature?
The only thing that's going to stop us is ice. And MSU does a pretty good job of maintaining the sidewalks and salting the sidewalks. So, no, and there's a lot of really good research too on exposure to light and that we aren't getting enough. And a lot of our students are sleep deprived. And if you read about one of the things that's really important is getting exposure to natural daylight, because the lumens that you get outside are so different from what you get inside. And so, no, the weather doesn't stop us. And that old saying, I guess it's a camping saying, there's no bad weather, there's only
bad gear.
Bad gear, yeah.
And so, in fact, I will show you.
What do you got there?
Jorhie was giving me a hard time. I've got my little winter cap always in my bag. so that
That's
so
good.
that the cold breezes don't stop me, right? I can just throw my cap on,
Yes.
right? And then I've got other clothing in the office too,
Yeah.
so that because it's so important. And I've seen a big difference. And when I get daylight exposure, I fall asleep fast, and when I don't, because it triggers that cascade of hormones that are your sleep hormones. So no, we're out there riding whenever we can.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
but-
just had a meeting over in
Yeah.
Bessie Hall when we had that big rainstorm and waited till it calmed down a little bit and biked back, and there was no issues, So
was
I think
last
it's
night.
also helpful to create a culture of,
Yeah.
oh, you just biked from a meeting, let's take a moment and
Right.
gather yourself and go right into it, right? We have kind
Right.
of this, you have to be a certain way when you're walking into a room that,
Yeah, and we can equip our rental bikes or a bike that you might own with fenders, with
Yeah.
studded tires, so you can actually ride even though it might be a little icy. And that's
Yeah.
what I do and most of our staff do. So
Sure.
you can even be more adventuresome
Yeah.
through the
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
the weather. So let me just see what else we've got to talk about. Covered that. Oh, you both are bicyclists before you came to MSU?
Yeah.
So you consider yourself long-time
Sure.
bicyclist?
Yeah.
For sure.
So for the people that haven't been biking much, you mentioned that you've taught people. I've taught people how to ride a bike. I mean, it's a service that we offer.
Nice.
There's now a new small business in the area that this gentleman is teaching people how to bike as well.
So exciting.
So there's options for those of you who might be listening that don't know how to ride or may
Yeah.
not feel confident, or it's been a long time since you've ridden a bike. So keep that option in mind as well.
Love it.
One of the critical things is what. So MSU is a gold level bike friendly university, and that's a national program. We've been trying to identify ways that we can continue to improve. So are there some things that you might think of as low hanging fruit that are doable? Because there's a lot of ideas that are so expensive that may never,
Yeah.
since we're also under financial
Right.
challenges
Sure.
right now. What things do you think might
Yeah.
help take us to the next level?
Yeah, I think it's, for me, what jumps to mind is less infrastructure and physical thing and more a culture of biking on
Wow.
campus. I was just talking about going from meeting to meeting, and people are always shocked when I say, "Oh, I just biked here," and
All that way?
right, exactly. And so to have, just a culture of biking on campus, and I know that there's been multiple initiatives to try to get bikes to units so that people are doing this more frequently. But I think of it more in kind of the social component of creating a culture of biking on campus.
It's good.
Yeah.
Good point. That's a tough nut to crack.
Yeah.
It is.
So
How
tough.
to change the culture.
Yeah.
Jorhie was asking the other day, did you call it a roll?
Oh, a slow roll. Do you do a slow roll?
We started the Lansing Bike Party, which, I mean, it's now called the Lansing Bike Party, and we
Yeah.
started that. I started it, helped in 16 years ago now.
Okay.
So we roll every Friday evening
Okay.
from the Lansing Bike Co-op, which
Yep.
is just a couple miles west of here.
Kalamazoo, yeah.
It started out as an MSU-based event, and the first one was actually a protest, but then it's grown into just more of a party.
Amazing.
Just to go out and have fun, learn about the area, meet new people. Erin's mother is now a member of that, and she
Fun.
comes out for a lot of the rides. So it's from younger people to older people.
Yeah.
And not really for kids per se, because we do ride at an adult speed,
Sure.
Yeah.
12 miles
Yeah.
an hour maybe ish. So yeah, there is that option as well in the area.
I
We
think
you
having
should
that on
do-
campus.
Yeah. You need to do a roll this fall on campus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Specifically, kind of to get more students,
Yeah.
faculty, staff out.
I think
like it.
early in the year would be helpful because students are still getting acclimated with campus. And I know early in the year we do something similar with our students, but to have a large group of students
Oh.
that are going from one end of the
Yeah.
campus
It's
to the
like
next
great.
and touring and
Yeah.
again, one of the things that we love are the trees on campus and the nature on campus. So incorporating some
Yes.
of that in. I think that too eliminates barriers for students in that first week
Uh-huh.
by saying, we had a lot of students who had some shame around not being able to bike, and we didn't catch it until later in the semester. And so introducing that we have classes and we have people who are here to support you to
Yeah.
learn how to bike, eliminating that barrier earlier in the year so that they have access to that throughout the year.
And I hear our no longer new president is also a bicyclist.
Let's get him to do it.
Let's do a slow roll with.
Well, Yeah, and
President
LCC,
Hipkowitz.
not far away,
Yeah.
has something they call Pedal with the Prez. So
Let's do
I
that.
think it'd be fun to see him come out
It would
and
Yeah.
be really
ride
fun.
with us and
Yeah.
Absolutely.
set an example. Maybe
Yeah.
we can maybe get some other administrators and
Would love
That
that.
would be really
staff
great.
and faculty out.
Yeah, pedal with
Let's
the
get
press.
that out, get that together.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming out. I think we covered a lot of the important stuff.
Yeah.
And
Thanks
we
for doing
appreciate the
this,
support
Tim.
over the years. And you've got something big coming up in just a couple days.
Yeah. I
Do you
feel
want to say
great
it on camera?
I'm retiring,
Woohoo.
but I'm going to be staying on, working with Benny Gore, my
Great.
dear friend and colleague, and we're going to be
Fantastic.
working on sustainability. So it's
Fantastic.
the bike center is certainly part of that. Yeah. How do we elevate all of the great things that we do on campus?
Yep.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
excited. There is such a committee.
There is.
So
There is.
We're looking forward to some new things happening.
Very excited about it. Thanks for
Great.
all you do,
Thank
Tim.
you.
Oh,
You
Yeah.
are
you're
a
welcome.
treasure on this campus. Yeah,
Well,
you
it's-
really are.
It's been fun. It's been
Yeah.
a good role.
You're
Yeah.
one of the first things we tell our students. Thanks.
Thank you all, and hope you tune in again. We'll try to do some other interviews. But thank you guys, Colin, Aaron, behind the scenes, Colin Lechner and Aaron Riley. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Adios.
So
Thanks so
fun.
much.